Okay, going to graph an inequality. Pretty basic and pretty straightforward. First of all, we locate the bound. What do we mean by the bound? The bound is what x or your variables are compared to. In this case, x is compared to 3. Now, on the number line, 0 doesn't have to go directly in the middle. You don't have to go up by 1 or whatever. This case time we will. So 1, and you don't have to mark every 1, but you need to mark enough. So maybe I'll go 1, then I'll go 3, 4, 5. That'll be enough that way, and then this would be a -1, -3. So the bound is at 3. So what do? So I start with an open circle there. Now, inclusive, exclusive, inclusive, that just means open and close. Can we include 3? Is 3 greater than 3? No. So we leave it open. It's excluding that bound. Now, shading. Some of you may remember hearing things like, oh, if Pac-Man eats what, or the alligator. I've heard different kinds of things. Or even, which way is it pointing? Don't bother with that, because the more we do, the more that's just going to get in the way. So, pick a nice number. One side or the other side. So let's say if we pick 5. And test it. Is 5 greater than 3? Is that a true statement? If it is, we want to leave it, and we're going to just shade it on the number line, and then an arrow saying it keeps going that way. So that's what x is greater than 3 looks like. Or just like that. Don't have to do anything fancy or anything like that. Don't bother with that. Okay? So now, how about when we get to inequalities? Notice, what do we have to do to solve the inequality? Well, we do this exact same thing we did for equations. How do we get rid of plus 4? So as long as x is greater than 1. So now let's graph that. 0, 1, then -1, -3. That's enough. So boundaries at 1. Pick a number, one side or the other. Let's try 0. Is 0 greater than 1? No. So we want to shade the other side. Or if you want to be sure, if you want to do something on yourself, then just, okay, so 0 didn't work, how about 3? 3 is greater than 1, yep. Now you may even want to see what happens if I tested that up here. 0 plus 4 is not greater than 5. Ooh, we don't want that. Solve that inequality to the exact same thing we would, how do I get rid of? -2. Now, do you have to use the odds? No. Just makes it quick for me, that's all. So, boundaries at 3. Do we get to include it? X is 3 greater than or equal to 3? Yeah, it's or equal to. We get to include it, so we're going to shade it in. Again, pick a number. Pick one, anyone. So again, if I pick 5, is 5 greater than 3? Yep. Or if we test it at the very beginning, is 5 minus 2 greater than 1? Or greater than or equal to 1? Yep. So we want to shade, include. Sometimes you may want to think about it instead of shading, maybe highlight it. Highlight that direction. Another way to think about the shading. Solve. Again, notice the focus is here. You know, notice Okay, this time 6 is getting pretty big. Can't put 0 too far over. Yeah, maybe let's put it over here. So 1, 2, 6. I like to go ahead and put down where the boundary is. Include is 6 or equal to 6, less than or equal to. So whenever you see that or equal to, we get to include it. It's inclusive. Shading 0. Yep, 0 is less than 6, 0 is over here, so we get to shade that way. Testing it up here, 5 times 0, is that less than 30? Sure is. Okay, so as you can tell, we haven't really done much things different from equations. So far, let's look at this one. What's being done to x? How do we solve? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, -1, 2, 3, -4. So open circle, start with. Can we include? Do we have the or equal to? Can 6, is 6 less than 6? So we leave it open. Pick a number. 0. Yep. Now, again, if we test at the beginning, 0 divided by 3 is still 0. So it's less than 2, so we're good that way. Okay. So far, so good. We've been going along pretty good. Go ahead and solve the next one. Some of you probably already have. Now, let's see what happens with this one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. -9 there, and that's 3. Need enough marks to tell the scale. So okay, so we go ahead and take a look at this. If we leave it as is, pick a number that's greater, here's -5. Pick a number on one side. Oh, let's say, how about -1? Is -1 greater than -5? Yes. However, what happens in the original is -2 times -1 greater than or equal to 10? That's false. That's not good. What happened? Well, the problem is when we divide both sides like that by a negative, or multiply both sides by a negative, we have to switch the direction of the sign. Because multiplying by a negative actually does something like gives you the reverse direction or opposite direction. So if we look back to this here, then if we had that, no, -1 doesn't work. Because -1, well, actually, wait, yeah, -1 is, no, -1's not less than 5. I was reading that backwards. Scarecrow moment. So, -1 doesn't work. Let's try something like a -9. -9 is less than left of -5. So, -9 is less than or equal to -5. Yes, it is. -2 times -9, if we check back to the original, is that true? Yes, it is. 18 is greater than 10, or equal to, greater than, or equal to 10. So we know we're going to shade towards -9. Now notice, one thing I didn't do almost, I almost forgot again. Can we include it? So back to the original. Do we have the or equal to? So we shade the or equal to, we make it in. What are we going to divide by? So just, let's take a quick look. Is that number negative? That's why we keep the same sign, same direction. We did not go in the opposite direction. Two, three, four. So, or equal to, shade in. So if we, again, would pick a number, let's say 0. 4 times 0 is less than -6. No. I'd rather have no money than owe somebody $6. That's why, or go back to the original. Nope. 0 is not less than 24, -24. So we don't shade toward 0, we shade the other side of it. Or you can, again, pick -7, -8, any number that way. Now, what's different with this? Nothing. I got plus 10, so subtract 10. 2, 4, 6, 4, 6. Open or closed. Excluded, included. Is -2 included? Nope. So now, pick a number, 0, let's say, because that's always a nice number if you can, as long as you're not picking a boundary. So it is -2 less than or equal to 0. Oh, or sorry, just less than 0. Yes, it is. -2 is less left of 0. So we're going to shade towards 0. Again, don't worry about switching the order or the direction or whatever. Just leave it that way. Okay? So that's all you're up to today.